Well, we knew this would happen eventually, and the mainstream media have only got themselves to blame. They chose a side, didn't they? They should have been on the fence, they should have been bipartisan, but they weren't. They weren't like the days of old where you could rely on the news to tell you the truth and what was going on. But these days, the mainstream media, they'd rather tell you what to think and what they want you to know. I stopped watching them years ago. It became evident to me ever since the election of Donald Trump as president back in 2016, as well as Brexit, that the mainstream media are one-sided, and people can only watch so much of that before they get enough. Anyway, viewing figures of all mainstream media channels here in the UK have been dropping for years, and the worst hit seems to be Sly News. Now, I'd love to see Sly News go out of business, as well as Channel 4 and the BBC. If these news channels can't or won't do their job, then they should be made extinct, in my opinion. And I think Sly News have actually pipped the BBC as the major biased mainstream organisation in the country. And to be honest, I think Kay Burley and Beth Rigby's unprofessionalism and clear bias are hugely responsible for what's happening in Sly News. I mean, as for Kay Burley, good lord. It's just cock-up after cock-up with her. She seemed to revel holding Tory politicians to account and Dominic Cummings for breaking COVID rules, and she did it herself with her mate Kay Burley. They were both suspended and then they came back. People just don't like watching them. Now Sly News' viewing figures have been so low that they've had to make cuts. Next year they're laying off 1,000 staff, and apparently they can't even afford to pay for freelance journalists. And because nobody's watching, that means nobody's seeing the adverts that businesses are paying Sly News to have on its channel. And so they'll just go and advertise somewhere else, like GB News, for example, whose viewing figures, ironically, are going up. And to be honest with you, I don't even trust GB News. And I've given you my reasons in previous videos. Now, this sort of thing here, what's happening to Sly News with revenue and having to cut staff, is exactly what the biased BBC is scared of. Because they'd be in exactly the same predicament if they had their licence fee taken away and were instead commercialised. Because nobody's watching the BBC either, which means businesses would pull their adverts. No adverts means no revenue. No revenue means they can't pay staff. They can't pay staff. They go bust, and I hope that happens. I really do. And it's not just Sly News. All these lefty-biased media organisations have labelled people like you and me as far-right and racists, simply because we voted for Brexit, or perhaps we support Donald Trump, or we didn't want to vote Labour. We are literally the crap on their shoe, as far as they're concerned. But there we go, they've gone woke, and now they're going broke. Hurrah! Let the good times roll. And there we go, I'm Paz49, thanks for watching. And until the next time, Roger Trout. Hi, I'm Paz49 off that video you just watched, and I want to thank you all for all the likes, comments and shares, but now it's time to hit that subscribe button.